meditation. Thank you very much. You may be seated.
The mic is on.
Before we start, can we ask those people that are distributing goodies outside to stop distributing so that we can all get into the chamber? And can we get into the chamber silently? Chief Whip.
Good morning, councillors. It is hereby notified that the 27th Extraordinary Council meeting of the City of Johannesburg Municipality will be convened on Thursday, on the 13th of June, 2024, at the Constance, Conny, Bapela Council Chamber in Braamfontein at 10 a.m. And the first item on the agenda is opening.
Once again, good morning, all councillors. Executive Mayor of the City of Johannesburg, Councillor Kabelo Kwamanda. Whip of Council, Councillor Godslove Zungu. All political party leaders and whips, members of the Mayoral Committee, chairpersons of Section 79 committees, fellow councillors, City Manager, Mr. Floyd Brink, Acting Secretary to Council, Mr. Andile Gobinga, officials of the City of Johannesburg, most important, the residents of the City of Johannesburg, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the 27th Extraordinary Council meeting of the City of Johannesburg Municipality. I want to congratulate the IEC and all political parties that participated in the 2024 general elections for peaceful elections. Congratulations to the South Africans for exercising their constitutional right and political parties that are going to be represented in Parliament and provincial legislatures. Congratulations. At this point, I would allow a 5-minute break for legal to confirm the number of councillors present. Legal, can we do that? Just 5 minutes. That doesn't mean that we move out, we remain seated. I thank you. Thank you. Legal has been quicker than the 5 minutes. We are 169 councillors present that have signed the register. I also want to take this opportunity to welcome Councillor Matthew Cook from the Good Party. Councillor Cook is right at the back. Councillor Cook, welcome to the city of Johannesburg. He's representing the Good Party.
Councillors, we proceed to application for leave of absence.
Councillors, the following apologies were submitted. We have an apology from Councillor Nontenja from the UDM, Ill Health. Are there any apologies, other apologies from the floor? Councillor De Lange, Councillor Makuba, and then Councillor Avante Smith. On my right-hand side, are there any apologies? Councillor Harris and Councillor from the EFF Chief Whip. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Councillor Paul Smith, LOA due to ill health. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Then it's Councillor Makuba.
Thank you, Speaker. Councillor Mabaso and Councillor Manganye will be arriving late.
Thank you. Then it's Councillor Avante Smith.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Speaker. We have quite a few, unfortunately, today. We have Councillor Shabalala, who's ill health, Councillor Benjamin, ill health, Councillor Wax, private business, Councillor Sherman, private business, Councillor Charmer, ill health, Councillor Shackelford, ill health, Councillor Trulack, private business, Councillor Ahmed, ill health, Councillor Shea and Councillor Horwitz, for religious purposes. It's a Jewish holiday today. And then I've got some people who need to leave early. I have Councillor Steenkamp and Councillor Carl Jacobs who need to leave at 12, Councillor Hoon who needs to leave at 11:30, and Councillor van der Merwe at 3:30 if we are not done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Avante. Councillors, there's a disturbing noise in the fourth row here that is really, we can't even hear. Can we just stop that one? Councillor Harris, and then Councillor from the EFF, and then I've noted the whip from the PA, and then it will be Councillor Dami.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, colleagues. Councillor Mkonza is away on private business, and Councillor Rolson is off sick. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Moapi.
Thank you, Speaker. Councillor Mufugeng, Family Bereavement, Councillor Mcini, running late. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The PA whip, Councillor Simonse.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, and to the House. Just MMC Kunene needs to leave at 12, MMC Leach as well, and then Councillor Friesling needs to leave at 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Dami.
Good morning, Speaker. Councillor Marema will be joining us late. Councillor Sasedinyan will join us late. Councillor Mazibukwani, ill health. Thank you.
Councillors, we have a lot of people that wants to leave early, so I propose that there's one item and that we deal with the item.
Speaker, please recognize me.
Is there another hand? Action SA, thank you. Apologies, I didn't see the hand.
Okay, thank you, Speaker. We have Councillor Stembela Majola, private business. We have Councillor Genevieve Durant, private business. We have Councillor Lincoln Machaba, ill health. We also, Councillor Esme Liebenberg is also asking to leave early if we're not done by 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Can we approve the apologies as submitted? Can we approve the apologies as submitted? Thank you, councillors.
Councillors, we proceed to recommendations to council.
Executive Mayor.
Good morning to the Speaker of Council, Councillor Margaret Arnold. Good morning to the Chief Whip of Council. Good morning to the members of the Mayoral Committee. Good morning to the Secretary of Council. Good morning to the Head of Administration in absentia. Good morning to leaders of political parties that are represented both in the government of local unity and council as a whole. Madam Speaker, I rise to table the executive report and the recommendations thereto. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Executive Mayor.
We now proceed with the recommendations to council, with the first item being the loan funding for the 2023-24 financial year of Agans franchise development.
Thank you, Acting Secretary. We start off with Councillor Harris from the ACDP.
Madam Speaker, Executive Mayor, MMCs, councillors, I rise to speak to item 1, the loan funding for the 2023-24 financial year. The mandate of local government is limited to local economic development, and this is stated on page 166 of the last IDP, the People's Plan 2024-2025. The Johannesburg interbank borrowing rate stands at 8.34%. Interest rates in the Eurozone stands at 3.75%. We are asked to approve a loan at a floating interest rate, currently at 8.34%, plus a credit spread of up to 4.96%. A French bank is looking to benefit from an appraisal fee of 0.5%, which equates to 12.5 million rand, an interest rate of 4.59% above the European interest rate, as well as the amount of up to 4.96% above the J-bar for the credit spread. Our concerns are around the following. If the mandate is limited to local economic development, why has Treasury not focused on raising this loan through local banks? At the very least, the interest paid and costs incurred would have stimulated our local financial markets. We are being asked to commit the city to an arrangement ending in 2039. Is it fair to commit future generations to servicing a debt that gives us a measure of financial flexibility now? Is the over 3 billion rand interest payable a fair price to pay for this loan? The city's mandate is to provide services and service delivery. It is evident, though, that there are systemic problems within the city impeding service delivery. A shaky revenue collection regime comes to mind. These range from the work-to-rule policies of the unions, the crumbling and unmaintained infrastructure, dirty and crumbling streets, the disjuncture between the city and critical entities like City Power and Joburg Water. There is the matter of the overdrafts to the sinking fund by Joshco and City Power as well. As the ACDP, we are committed to service excellence. We acknowledge the impact this loan will have on service delivery. The questions not answered by the information provided is whether this loan will improve the existential position of residents now and residents in the generations to come. I thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Councillor. I cannot recognize the name, but there's a councillor from EFF. Apologies, councillor, but you can rise. Thank you. You can speak. Can you try the mic next door to you?
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning to all councillors. The EFF is asking for a 1-hour caucus break.
Thank you, Councillor. Your hour is granted.
Sorry, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker,
Yes, Councillor. I'm not sure because I've granted an hour. I'm not sure on what you want to speak, Councillor.
Madam Speaker, on just that very point, could we please ask that all parties that also feel they might need a caucus break. So why are we saying fucking sit here for nothing?
Councillors, can you leave?
The DA must go and caucus with the ANC.
Thank you, councillors. Can we start getting seated? Our hour is 5 minutes over. Can we get ourselves to our own seats? Can we get seated, councillors? Councillors, can we start? Before I give Councillor Mosetla to report back, I am going to say something that is not going to make me popular, but well, popularity is not something that I want to exercise. Councillors, can I plead with ourselves that our rules are silent on when we call for a caucus, but can we do this, that before we start an item, that we then ask for a caucus break? And I think it should apply to all of us. I'm not saying you can't ask for a caucus break, but can we not do it when we are midway? Councillor Christians, can we not do it when we are midway? Can we then start it before the item starts? And I have indicated that I'm not going to be popular for it, and we need to look at our rules. So I'm not sure, Councillor Christians, are you calling a point of order on me? But I've said that it's our rules are silent on what it says when we can ask for that. Councillor, please, I want the councillor to report back on why they asked for a caucus. 1 second. Councillor Mosetla, can you report back?
Thank you, Speaker, and thanks for affording us a break. We had an emergency to deal with as an organization. We have dealt with it, we are fine, and we will participate fully now, knowing that we no longer have hurdles. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Mosetla. So I'll go to the next councillor. Councillor Christians. I said 1 second, okay? 1 second. You can have 1 second. Let's hear. I also don't want to entertain frivolous things.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, your last statement is uncalled for because you didn't even hear what I had to say. Speaker, I respect your decision that you've made, but I'm asking for your indulgence because we had also planned to have a caucus just before our Speaker speaks today. So while I respect your decision, can you please allow us that, because that decision was only made now, and can that then be implemented going forward from the next meeting? Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Councillor Boer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning to all councillors, all protocol reserved. We are raising on this item the loan funding for 2023-2024. We're quite disappointed that we are still referring to 2023-2024 as this loan is for 2024-2025. The 24 financial year ends in 17 days. We're not going to spend this money before the end of the month. Furthermore, the executive brought us this item very disappointing. There were letters attached from to National and Provincial Treasury with a response date of the 9th of May. We still haven't received responses from National and Provincial Treasury to decide on this loan. And in a normal business, you incur a loan for a capital expansion if the return on this loan is more than the interest that you are paying on this loan. If it is not the case, then we are losing money. This loan is costing us 13.3% interest with no possible return in sight. It is not on to incur such a loan. It's going to put a burden on our city where our annual interest expense is already 2.5 billion. So the interest that we are paying in the city is equal to the amount of the loan that we want to incur. We are going to put ourselves deeper and deeper in debt. We cannot borrow funds to finance our cash flow. We know the city desperately needs capital projects, especially on water and electricity, but by incurring this loan, we are going to dig ourselves deeper and deeper into financial difficulties. There are alternatives. We are having 8.3 billion rand per annum debt impairment. If we can just reduce that amount to 5 billion, the 2.5 billion is already in the kitty. We must focus on debt collection, which is rising month by month. We must focus on increasing our physical losses on water and electricity. Those figures are increasing year by year. To bring those amounts down will also bring us 2.5 billion rand into the kitty. The Freedom Front cannot support this loan this year. We have to dig in and get the money where it is laying, and especially with an interest rate cycle that is pretty high at the moment, we cannot afford to pay 13.3%. This loan of 2.5 billion is going to cost us at the end of the day 5.7 billion. This is not on, really. The Freedom Front will not support this loan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Santana.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, can we please request a half-an-hour caucus break on this item? Thank you.
Thank you. 30 minutes and 30 minutes it be. 11:45, we are back.
Hello. Hi, Speaker. So you didn't contest for national election?
Who is that? Can we start settling down and ensure that our councillors are all inside? Chief Whip, can you whip them, please, to come in? Councillors, our time is up. We've been out for 35 minutes. Can we walk in? Can we sit down? Councillor Magwenchu, MMC Magwenchu, can we get seated? Councillors at the back, on my right. Councillor Santana, are you reporting back, or Councillor Avante Smith? Councillor Avante.
Thank you very much for your indulgence, Speaker. We're ready to proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Santana.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I ask to speak on item 1, the
Just
loan
hold
fund.
on. Councillor Dami. And Chair Mnyameni. Thank you, Councillor Santana.
Thank you, Speaker. I ask to speak on the loan funding for the 2023-2024 financial year of the AFD. Madam Speaker, the city puts us in a predicament whereby we know that obviously funding of CapEx and funding to service delivery for our residents is of utmost importance. But it becomes very problematic when time and time again we ask for information and we ask for information timelessly. And I've been standing here, as you know, for the longest time requesting that such information. That being the quarterly reports are presented timelessly, that the Section 71 reports are reported timelessly so that we can actually engage in on what we're doing as a city and where we're at. So it makes it difficult for us then to, within half an hour, to try and conclude on information on whether the item should be supported or not. Because one, we have to engage with our caucus as well and come back with certain aspects around that. So the issues, and it's not that a lack of trying again, me trying to contact the MMC either. I've done that as well.
Just hold on, Councillor Santana. There's a noise coming from my right-hand side. And right at the back as well on my left-hand side. That back there and this back here. Can we please? Thank you, Councillor Santana.
Thank you, Speaker. So, Speaker, like I said, there were a few questions that we needed to ask around this loan, the impact thereof. One being, you know, the 15 years is a long term. It's going to cost us 5.7 billion, as Councillor Boo alluded to, almost 100 million rand repayment every quarter. And again, like I said, it makes it very difficult when you're trying to approve financial items for the City of Johannesburg with no information available to you to do so, objectively and informatively. So I know that you know, we need to do this because of what transpires if the city doesn't have its funding. But again, we can't also then put out our future aspects or residents, and not only residents but also future generations with this loan funding out 15 years. So with that being said, Madam Speaker, as the Democratic Alliance, we cannot support this item, again, because we don't get information timelessly. And I'm hoping that we are appealing to all of you, that the executive and the Speaker's office, because even when I was going through the minutes of council, the last one we received was the 31st of January, so it made it very difficult for me to try and trace how many times this item appeared in council, and trying to actually come with a conclusion of where we're at. So noting that obviously the last time it served in council in April was an online meeting, which we raised objections to thereto with regards to the fact of how we were going to do the voting on the item. That being said, again, as Councillor Boo alluded to and Councillor Harris, we need to start looking at how are we decreasing our technical losses, how are we decreasing our debt impairment, because just on those two items alone, which is over 10 or 11 billion rand, you could actually fund this ourselves. So I think the city needs to re-strategize its own aspects of how it wants to generate money versus obtaining loans, and for that, the Democratic Alliance does not support this item. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Santana. Councillor Modukanene from Action SA.
Thank you, Speaker. Greetings to the Fabulous 44, all councillors present, and most importantly, the citizens.
Councillor, can you speak into the mic, please? We can't hear you.
Trying. Am I audible now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. I rise on behalf of Action SA to contribute our position in relation to this item. We're questioning ourselves, why is local lending important? It helps the government to flood out investors during times of high inflation and looming economic overheats. It also helps government to cover budgeting deficits. It also promotes national savings as citizens buy government bonds. So tell me, why are we insisting on borrowing from a foreign national institution rather than a local bank? This agreement is giving Machonisa vibes. Like no one wanted to borrow you money, and this is the only person to borrow you money, and you have no choice but to accept. But in this case, we did not even shop around for a loan with favorable conditions, as we all know that the procurement of this loan was done in line with Regulation 36. So we didn't explore more options. Speaker, this House has an obligation to scrutinize the loan agreement, and we cannot with a clear conscience say this loan has the most favorable conditions. This loan term is too long, and we will be burdened for 15 years in repayment of this loan. The loan is 2.5 billion with an interest of 3.5 billion. How does that make sense? The commitment fee and appraisal fee is due in 30 days after this loan agreement is signed. And the first quarterly installment of this loan, quarterly installment of 96.2 million is due on the 14th of September. So we are squeezed tight. And where is all this money going to come from? Because we all know that the city is cash-strapped. The acceleration clause is also giving us sleepless nights. It's not favorable. The mandatory prepayment clause is even worse, because then it says that this loan can be cancelled at any time by the French government, which means that the whole loan amount will be due at that moment. Speaker, this loan agreement borders on irresponsible borrowing. As we did not explore more favorable loan conditions, we opted for a foreign institution rather than a local institution with no reason provided. Could we not rather concentrate on other avenues for the city to generate income, and also sort out our billing crisis, as we also spent more money there on litigation? We can come up with stringent revenue collection processes that will put us in a better financial position rather than acting desperate for loans that's not even going to serve the citizens of Johannesburg. So having said that, Action SA does not support this item.
Yes. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Ponsonby from the Patriotic Alliance.
Dankie daarso. Good morning, everybody. Madam Speaker, Executive Mayor, leaders of the sixth biggest party currently in South Africa. Hey, Tada. MMC Kenny Kunene and the blessed Joburg 9 councillors, my colleagues, councillors in this council, I greet you all. Speaker, the Patriotic Alliance noted the application for a long-term loan of 2.5 billion from the AFD set out for capital expenditure programs for financial year 2023-2024 in line with the medium-term budget. Looking into the salient features of the loan, we are pleased and noted that there is room for amortizing quarterly repayments and that compliance with the MFMA was considered, including public comments. We, however, need to caution finance that we will keep a close eye on the spending of this loan and ensure that it gets used for and on the intended program stipulated to the executive, councillors and the public in the budget speech. It's time to hold each other accountable and ensure that service delivery, development and upgrades reach our residents, as this is the core for why we elected to be in council and represent our constituents. We as the Patriotic Alliance support and approve this item, but please note, ons paisa nou nog nie. Dankie.
Thank you, Councillor Ponsonby. Councillor P. Nhlapo from the EFF.
Greetings to the Speaker, to the Mayor and all councillors at large. The EFF is covered, Speaker. Thank you.
Councillor Nhlapo, Councillor Nhlapo, I'm just being asked by or advised that I need to know how are you covered for the reasons of the minutes? No, councillors.
We are covered by covered, Speaker. Thank you. We are covered, Speaker.
Councillors, you are howling and the councillor has been speaking. She's explaining how she's covered. Okay, fine, then I don't need your hands. Can we continue? Councillor D. Modupi from the ANC.
Speaker, he just went to the bathroom.
Councillor Brenda, I assume you are the whip of the ANC. We cannot afford that that people leave when they are supposed to speak. It is ill discipline. It truly is ill discipline. Councillor Madupi. Mustn't drink so much tea and water.
Thank you. Let me apologize. I was in public toilets. I was washing my hands there. Madam Speaker, let me first start by greeting you, the Executive Mayor of the City of Johannesburg, Councillor Kabelo Komanda, the Chief Whip of Council, Councillor Sthembiso Zungu. Let me also greet the leader of the ANC Caucus in Council, Councillor Data Morero. Greet all members of Mayoral Committee, all councillors, the guests, and also the Regional Secretary of the African National Congress in the city of Johannesburg, Sasabona, aka Blockbone. Madam Speaker, I think when we come to this item, we should not be dilly-dallying. We are currently within the financial year 2023-2024, and we are dictated upon by the decisions that we took within current financial year. It is this very same council that took decision on the funding model within this current financial year. And our decision today to approve the request for loan is based on that funding model. We are not going to be using the funding model that is based on the figments of our own imagination for the future. We are going to use the current funding model. All the institutions within which we could request this loan were stipulated within that funding plan. And I want to re-emphasize this, Madam Speaker, particularly to those who consider themselves the left-leaning forces, to say we must not confuse our left-leaning ideological position with ideological dogmatism, because dogma refuses us to think outside of the box. Currently, we are dictated upon by the material conditions, globally speaking, because the global economy is run through the bourgeois principles. We may be the left-leaning forces, but we must equally so align ourselves with the practical dictates. We cannot want to speak left. We cannot want to speak left simply because we think that it is nice rhetoric to speak left. Left
Councillor
should
Matupi,
always be...
Just hold on.
Thank you.
Can we listen to the councillor on the podium? We are trying to hear him.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, what I was saying that as the left-wing forces, we should align ourselves with the material conditions within which we exist. We are existing as a global community within the global context. And as we speak, the current balance of forces globally are tilting towards the right, and that is not what we want as the left-leaning forces. But I'm saying, taking the loan that is requested, this loan seeks to address the capital projects which are going to benefit the poor of the poorest. We cannot politic around this thing when we come to the issues that are going to be affecting the poor of the poorest. We need to make sure, Madam Speaker, that when we come to such issues, we just go straight to approve them without dilly-dallying, without politicking, without basing them on the ideological position, even when the material conditions are not allowing such ideological position to be implemented. Therefore, Madam Speaker, as the African National Congress, we approve the request for the loan on the basis of the recommendations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Matupi. Councillors, the recommendations are... Oh, wow. Councillor, you took me straight to the recommendations. MMC Morero, apologies.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, Councillor Margaret Arnolds, and greetings to you. Greetings to the Executive Mayor, Councillor Kabelo Kwamanda, Chief Whip of Council, Councillor Zungu, leaders of political parties. Let me first congratulate you for having performed and participated well in the national elections, and congratulate those that were able to garner seats to be represented in the National Assembly and the provincial legislatures. It was indeed an important and interesting election, and we will see what are the finalities in terms of constituting government, which will help us to take South Africa and move South Africa forward. Because South African citizens are indeed waiting for us to conclude on the establishment of government. So congratulations to all of you for the 29th of May. Madam Speaker, let me take this opportunity to once more respond to some of the critical questions that have been raised. And amongst those is to confirm that indeed 78% of the loan funding has already been spent as of May 2024. It is also important to note that the budget approving this loan being raised was already approved by Council in May 2023. Therefore, Council is within the borrowing leverage approved by National Treasury, which is 45% of debt to revenue, which suggests that everything that we went through has indeed is within the approved leverage by National Treasury. There are also three components that I need to address with the Action SA. That there are three components to financing capital expenditure in municipalities, and COJ is one of those municipalities. And those would include cash, capital grants, and loan funding. Now, it is important, Madam Speaker, to note that it is important for us to get this loan approved so that we can continue and support this budget that we have raised. I know, Madam Speaker, that this issue comes at a time that we have just concluded national elections, and there's quite a number of uncertainties in terms of how government will look like post tomorrow or post the inauguration of the President of the Republic. But it is important that councillors here take into interest the importance of addressing issues of the residents of Johannesburg to ensure that service delivery and capital projects can be funded in full to ensure that we respond to our challenges, especially in terms of water infrastructure and electricity infrastructure. So with that being said, Chair, Madam Speaker, I stand here to request Council to approve this loan funding. Thank you.
Thank you, MMC Morero. Councillors, the recommendations are on pages 1.5 to 1.6. Is the item agreed to? Those in support of the item, can we see your hands? Okay, they've lifted their hand.
don't know whether I feel important.
Can we be at our seats so that we can be counted? Can we please do that? Councillors, why are we so ill-disciplined today?
Kind of.
When we fight against those that we are doing so because we don't want to step
Hayibo, ubani? Ubani? You can lower your hands. Did you count? The nose. You can lower your hands. Can we have those who abstain? Those who abstain? Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, councillors. We have one that abstains. We have 89 that says no. And we have 110 that says yes. Just hold on for me. The following functions may not be delegated by municipal council: the passing of bylaws, the approval of budgets, the imposition of rates and other taxes, levies and duties, and the raising of loans. The following functions may not be delegated by municipal council: a majority of the members of a municipal council must be present before a vote may be taken on any, just hold on any matter. All questions concerning matters mentioned in subsection 2 are determined by a decision taken by municipal council with a supporting vote of a majority of its members. All other questions before council are decided by a majority of the votes cast. So the item is not carried. We needed 136 to pass it. Councillors, Councillor Madupi, I want to close.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Having noted what you say, I want it to be on the record that there are people who voted against the poor people and those who voted for
Councillor
poor people.
Madupi.
And I want to say, Madam Speaker,
Your chief whip told you such an ass.
Councillors, there are no announcements. You'll get the official notice of the next council meeting. We are on recess. Thank you very much.